everybody, welcome to Clay Talk. Today we're going to be discussing armatures that we use with Creative Paperclay. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes for some more people to join. Hi everyone. Okay, we have a few people on now. Today we're going to be discussing how or what we can use for armatures in our Creative Paperclay sculptures. I have quite a few items to go through, and I have quite a few sculptures to show you which I have been using these items in. The first most obvious one that we do use a lot is aluminum foil. Anybody who watches videos on YouTube or on our blog, you'll see that we use aluminum foil a lot in making our sculptures. You simply shape the foil into whatever item, the shape of the item that you're making. Let me give you an example of that. This bird right here was made just with the aluminum foil as the centerpiece, and then of course covered with Creative Paperclay. As you can see, he came out quite cute. I like him a lot. And you'll find that we use foil with lots of stuff, not just, it can be used in addition to other items in making the sculptures. We also use foam a lot, floral foam and styrofoam. Floral foam is basically this foam. You use the foam when you're doing a flower arrangement, but it's very easy to carve. There's two of them. There's this one, and there's also another one that is a lot softer, and it tends to be very crummy, so you'll find that the bits get in your clay. But if that's the only one that you have, what you can do is cover it with masking tape before you add your clay, so it will reduce the little bits that get in your clay. So floral foam is fantastic at using to carve, to make sculptures. We have like this little church right here. This was made by carving a piece of a block. I just cut off a piece and just carved it into this shape and covered that with Creative Paperclay. Another one that I use that in would be here. This this little head here, the bust. This part was actually floral foam, and this would have been a styrofoam ball that I had shaped into the head. So the next thing, of course, is the styrofoam balls and eggs and stuff, all the shapes you're familiar with that you get in the craft store. Styrofoam is fantastic for using with Creative Paperclay. The clay sticks right to it usually. You can put some diluted glue though before you put on the clay, just to make sure that you have that it sticks down properly. So styrofoam balls are great for Creative Paperclay, and also they have these egg shapes you can buy. I've already cut off the bottom of this one so it can stand, and I'll show you right here. The Santa Claus was made using a styrofoam egg shape just like this. I cut off the base, and then for the hat, that would have been aluminum foil in that shape. So as you see, they're quite versatile. Another one would have been this little guy here. This little Easter chick was made with one of these little Easter eggs. And this was a very simple one to make. All of these are on the blog or on the YouTube channel, creativepaperclay.blogspot.com. Tutorials for most of these are up there. Another one I used, this is really cute as well. This was also a styrofoam egg shape. I didn't cut off the end of this one, as you can see. I just used some foil and added a little nose and also some ears. So those are, I mean, there's so many things you can make using styrofoam. It's crazy. I mean, there's styrofoam as well that you get with packaging. You can keep those, and you can use that to build up armatures. If you're making, like, you'd say a giant house or something like that, you could use the pieces and build them up and carve away until you get the shape that you require. So styrofoam is very, very versatile. All types of foam, really. The spray foam as well that you use to seal areas with, I guess it's what you call it there, for sealing in air, like you have a crack or whatever, and you use the styrofoam, the spray one that expands. That's also great because you can just spray a whole bucket full, for argument's sake, and then you can carve it when you're finished. That's another way you can get styrofoam in shapes that you want. I've done that also for other sculptures. So styrofoam is very versatile. It works by itself, and it also works along with the foil. And as I said before, the foil can be used by itself, as I did in this little bird right here. And it can also use along with other sculptures, other items like this. This would be styrofoam. This would be, I mean, this would be foil. This would be the styrofoam. Another common item that we use in creating our armatures would be dowels and wire. Dowels come in many different widths. These are the three ones I use the most. It really depends on the height or weight of my sculpture, to determine what dowel I use. I use them a lot for legs. Sometimes I use them as the central point in the sculpture. Like I'd attach this to the base and this runs right through the sculpture. It really just depends what I'm making. Here's an example of an armature I've made. This is the two dowels are here. If you don't have dowels, by the way, chopsticks are actually a great alternative to dowels, and they're readily available. So this would be the dowels right here, and this is foil for the body shape. And this, our next item, will be wire. Now the wire you use it's really up to you. I use jewelry wire a lot because it's very flexible and easy to shape how I want it. You also have thinner versions. It really just depends what you want it for. Like I said, if the size of the sculpture is gonna be very large, then I suggest that you go with any, dowels that are thicker and wire that is thicker. But for most simple sculptures like this one, the jewelry wire is fine. So to make this up, I simply did an aluminum foil body and head shape, and I added the wires for the arms. I bent over the wire at the end like a little loop for the little hands, and then also added dowels for the leg. So this little guy is ready now to have clay added. You'll see that when we're making armatures, we use masking tape a lot. Masking tape holds everything together nicely. It's a great finish for the paper clay to stick to. And it's also readily available. any masking tape is fine. The regular one, the painter's tape like this, it doesn't matter which one. Just get the width that works for your sculpture and you should be fine. So it's always good to have masking tape handy. Another item that some people may not know about is wire mesh. So this is two types of wire mesh that I have. One is from Amico, the other is from Activa. Basically, the wire mesh is just a flexible mesh, much more flexible than chicken wire that you'd use like with a paper mache sculpture. And it comes in a sheet. Let me just open this and show you. See, it's quite easy to bend and stuff. See, it's very flexible. So this is great when you have an item that on your sculpture, a part of your sculpture rather, that's thin, like you say you're doing a flower, or one main thing that I use it for is actually for ears. So like on this little kitty guy here that I'm making and I haven't finished yet, for the ears, I would use wire mesh right here. So you just cut the shape of the ear, fold over an end, and attach it to the rest of your armature. And it will hold the clay in place so it won't break or anything like that. It's definitely a good armature to have. And that leads me, of course, to my next thing on this little sculpture, which is bottles. This is just like a Bailey's rum cream bottle. And it's great for any sculpture, really. You can come up with so many things with bottles and jars. Is another one. And I love using them in my sculptures. So we'll go through a few of those in just a moment. Right now we're having a giveaway. You have to be live and you have to comment and say, I want to win to be entered in the giveaway. You'll get a prize. So go ahead and comment. I want to win. So you can be entered in the giveaway. Okay, back to my bottles now. Okay, so as I was saying, bottles are great. This is Bailey's Irish cream bottle. It made a lovely sculpture with that one. And let me just point out one more thing before I put this away. This tail, to get the shape, I would have used wire in the middle and the aluminum foil. So once again, you can see I combined many items to make the armature. This would be wire mesh. The bulk of the head would be a styrofoam ball built up with foil, and foil for the legs as well and feet. And then I would have wire in the center of the foil right here to make the armature. That way the tail, you can, before you put the clay on, you can shape it exactly how you want it. So you can curl the end, or you can curl it up or curl it down. The wire allows you to do that. More bottles and jars. Let me show you how I made this one here. This one is an armature that's good to go. So this gives you an understanding of how you can use a bottle to make your armature. And of course I have a dowel. I don't know if you can see, but I'll try. Okay, there you go. Inside you can see that there's a dowel. I had used a dowel to run right through from the head, which is a styrofoam shape, and goes right through, holds it in place. I had filled up the top of the bottle with some aluminum foil as well, and used my glue gun to keep it in place, and then added foil around to build up the shoulders and the neck and to cover the head. So this is a good example of an armature that you can use for an art doll. I'll show you an art doll that I've already done with a bottle. So this is an example of an art doll that I've already done. It was a bottle, same concept. I used this bottle had a very long neck, so I just built up the waist and the bust and the shoulders. It would have been wire and foil for the arms, and styrofoam for the head. And then of course I added the hair after I was finished. Let me show you the in-between stage, how to get to that. So here's an example of an armature that was made with a bottle that's ready, that's already been covered in clay. This is the first stage, and I just need to go back and add the details in the arms. So it was, once again, a nice shaped bottle. I mean, I buy stuff based on bottles that they're in actually, because I figure I can use that as a sculpture. And it would be aluminum foil for the waist and the bust, styrofoam for the head, a styrofoam egg shape or ball shape, whichever way you have to shape it in the shape of the head, and then covered it with clay. So I'm ready to move on to the next stage with this one now. Our next, I just wanted to show you one more armature that you can use actually for art dolls, being we're talking about shapes. This is actually a styrofoam like mannequin that you can buy. A paper mache mannequin that you can buy to decorate. But it actually, if you're not comfortable building a armature by yourself, it's actually great for you to use this. All the shape of the body is there already. So the work is done for you mostly. You just need to add the arms and the head. And as I said before, the egg shape is great for the head, or a styrofoam ball. If you use a styrofoam ball though, you will have to cut off the sides because our head actually isn't round. It's more oval shaped like the head. So I just wanted to show that you can buy this. Artdolls.com, I think, is the name of the website. They mostly deal with polymer clay, but the same concept applies here with air dry clay. They actually sell armatures that are ready made, like skeletal structures, and you just need to add the clay over the top. So if you're not comfortable building your own armature, you're beginning sculpture, you can also do that. Okay, we're not finished with bottles and jars yet. I just wanted to say that jars are also fantastic for making sculptures. This particular piece was done with a Tostitos jar. That's the base of the sculpture. So as you can see, I mean, anything really that you discard in your kitchen, you have to stop and think, hey, can I use this in my art studio to make a sculpture before you throw it away? I hoard too many things because I never want to throw anything away, because I look at what somebody else thinks is trash and I see a fantastic sculpture, which is pretty much what happened here. This is a jar, Tostitos jar, and I kept the lid, and what I did is I built the roof on the lid. So this is aluminum foil. Once again, I've combined two items, and this is aluminum foil, and I use that to make the shape. This is also a tutorial on the blog, so you can have a look and see exactly how I made this. So as you see, foam, wire, dowels, bottles, jars, wire mesh, they can all be combined to make so many different sculptures. Of course, now there are other things. It's not just that, other stuff you'd normally throw away. Like this little guy here. This was my very first piece actually as a design team member for Creative Paperclay. This is a styrofoam egg, as you can probably guess, or Humpty Dumpty here. He's actually in the Caribbean because that's where I live. So I had to give him that Caribbean look. There's a full tutorial and a YouTube video for this piece. And this base right here is a tea bag box. So when I say you don't throw away anything when you start to sculpt, I'm not joking. So the tea bag box I actually stuffed first with old tissue papers and stuff to keep it firm, covered it with masking tape, then I applied the clay. Humpty Dumpty here is a styrofoam egg, and his little wire legs. That would be wire covered in masking tape and a little clay. And the arms were just sticking right on, I probably just added those without anything in them. So, we have a winner already, Dina Rodell Coal. Congratulations. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Okay, moving on. Other things that you'd normally discard are stuff like yogurt containers, you know, plastic containers, margarine containers, that kind of thing, cheese containers. This was actually a container that Parmesan cheese came in. And as you can see from the bottom, because I haven't covered the bottom. So Parmesan cheese came in this container, and I kept it to make this cute little bunny basket. So once again, it's also aluminum foil up here, and around here, and for the feet would be cardboard covered in aluminum foil, and this would be just paper clay around here. So as you can see, there's no such thing as garbage when you get into this sculpting business. And that leads me to another thing, which would be paper towel middles and toilet roll middles. These can always be used to make sculptures. There are a couple of those on our blog if you have a look. This is a little guy I'm actually making. I've just made for a course I'm teaching. I'm about to teach on Skillshare. Hopefully I have it up by the end of the month. But he started also with a toilet paper roll. So as you can see, there are just so many different things you can do with the cardboard tubes as well. You can use them for like legs on like if you're making a big, like a dog or something, a sausage dog, there'd be cute legs and stuff. So yeah, they're very good to have around. Tins is another big one. I don't have an example to show you right now with something I made with a tin, but tins, like, you know, cans that food comes in, if you have that can opener that cuts the seal, that way you won't get cut, then you can just save the tins, or like a coffee tin or a tin that nuts come in or something. All of those can be used. It definitely is, you know, fantastic. You don't have to spend any money finding the armatures if you don't want to, or if you know, it's not in your budget. Another one I used is a old paintbrush. This is literally a paintbrush like you paint the walls with, and I added paper clay to the face and to the front of the brush, making this cute little face. Added some paint for hair. Isn't that fantastic? This also was a design team piece. So all of these sculptures you can pretty much find on the blog. There'll be either step-by-step instructions or a YouTube video. So it's really, really good what you can do with anything, really. The last one I want to talk about is cardboard, or you could use, I guess, foam board would be another option, as long as you make sure you cover both of them properly with masking tape. This is a sculpture in progress here. It's a fish, and it's made by, you cut out basically a cardboard base in the shape of the fish. So this will be like a wall plaque that you just hang like that. And you just build up the areas that need building up, like, you know, right here, and you cover with masking tape. Here wouldn't have any because it's, you know, the fins are thinner. So this is just a cardboard covered with clay. This area is built up. Barb is asking, what are armatures? Armatures basically are the skeleton of the sculpture. It's what supports the sculpture, because air dry clay needs a support. It's not like the clay that you bake in the kiln that once it's hard, it's, you know, it just stands up by itself. So for most things, it's a good idea to have an armature. I mentioned before, and I just wanted to point it out again, if you're making anything that's very tall or, you know, very heavy, or then you just want to make sure that you use something strong enough. Like if you're making a super tall sculpture, then you wouldn't use anything as thin as this. You might want to get a thicker dowel for that, just so that you have the support. The same goes for the wire. They actually do have, I think Sculpture House is the name of the company, that has armature wire. It's like 1/4 inch wire. That's for armatures. So it's great for when you're doing, you know, those larger sculptures. I'm just seeing if there are any more questions here. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all of them I've gone through with you. That the different armatures, things I've used for armatures over the years. I definitely have quite a collection of sculptures. So it's great. I mean, any ideas, you're welcome to add in the comments and stuff. We're always looking for new ideas, what we can use to work with air dry clay. And you know, make sure you subscribe to our blog. There we have projects, new projects, I think every week, some more than once a week. And yeah, it's great. Okay, what are we planning for next month? Next month, we're going to talk about using molds with Creative Paperclay. That's our, if you have any ideas, then it would be great. We also have a jewelry one planned as well. And like I said, molds, jewelry, maybe even paints, like what type of paints and finishes, pastels, paints, etc. you can use on Creative Paperclay. So if you have any questions, please be sure to let us know. We're quite happy to do another, like a show on, you know, anything really that, you know, we think that we could help you with. So we definitely will be doing one on molds. We definitely will be doing one on jewelry, and we will definitely be doing one on finishes for your sculpture. So that's it. So any more questions? Can you make puppets with movable mouths with paper clay? I suppose you can if your armature is made in such a way that it can move. I'm not a woodwork person, so I couldn't really say, but definitely if you know how to do the armature for the mouth so it moves, anything is possible really. The Creative Paperclay is very strong, so it really would make good puppets. It doesn't break when you fall, when it falls. So I'd have to say yes. It's cool to use paper clay with gourds as a base as well. Definitely. I wish I had gourds here, but we don't have gourds here in Jamaica. But I see a whole lot of work on Pinterest with gourds. That's just fantastic with Creative Paperclay and other clays. So yeah, that would actually be good. So maybe somebody else in the team can do that has access to that. Like I said, we don't have it here. So I know I have a friend in Florida that uses gourds for loads of different crafts. She carves them and everything and adds clay to them, and definitely get you lots of interesting pieces like chickens and stuff, and really, really, really good. So do we have any more questions regarding the armatures? What does armature mean? It's the skeleton of the sculpture. It's a support system in the middle of the sculpture. As I said before, this would be the armature of a sculpture like this. So this is where you would start. The armature holds up the sculpture. It's like your skeleton. If you take out your skeleton, you know, it's just a big blob. So it's the same with air dry clay. You have your armature on the inside. So, and then you cover it with clay. Do we have any more questions about the different armatures? Okay, so that's it for today. In October, we'll be discussing molds. and different molds that you can use with air dry clay. So be sure to join us October 3rd, next Facebook Live, right here on Creative Paperclay. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask, and we'll reply on Facebook for you. Be sure to follow our blog, creativepaperclay.blogspot.com, and also we have our group, Creative Paperclay Questions and Answers, on Facebook that you can, it's a great community that you can ask any questions. There are loads of people on there willing to help and answer your questions. So we will see you next time and on October 3rd and discussing molds. So bye everybody, and thank you so much for joining me.